Yeah. Hold on a minute. Let me get this volume right. Okay. Yeah. Like people one thing and give an impression. You know, everybody does that because I mean, like, let's think about it. Let's just play average. Let's just play the advocate. I'm gonna play the advocate right now. Like, if I go and tell somebody that somebody done this to me or they done bad to me, and I'm painting this nice picture that I'm all good and stuff like that. You know how a lot of people, because the average person, think about it. Average of us, we don't want to be wrong, right? We just don't want to be wrong. That's just how it is. And so it's hard to switch the role and take the responsibility. You see what I'm saying? A lot of us don't want to do that. But you know how people go around and they'll just try to paint a beautiful picture. You know how, like, a woman trying to get with this man, or this man trying to get with this woman, and they trying to make the greatest impression. You know how people do. They try to come up and try to make the greatest impression and try to, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. There, and then they be with the person for months. They find out that all that intelligence that they claimed they had and gave that good impression. Now all of a sudden, now it's like everything is like that. The person that they was months ago is not that same person, because even if you try to hide who you are, it's going to come out eventually, somewhere down the line. It can be 20 years from now. It can be 3 months. Some people, it don't take long. Nowadays, probably don't even take long now. You see what I'm saying? And you know how some people go around and they try to, like, just like with Adam and Eve, when they ate of the tree of the garden of good and evil, the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and both of them went to put Adam put the blame on Eve, and Eve blamed the Most High God for creating the serpent. She said, "It's the serpent that you put in the garden that deceived me." Then Adam put the blame on the woman, and then they both put the blame on somebody. You see what I'm saying? And see, that's how it is nowadays in the world. You see what I'm saying? That's how it is nowadays in the world. People nowadays want to take and flip the blame. You know what I mean? Because they want to. Nobody wants to be made out to be this bad person. So what they do to keep themselves looking like the good person, they turn around and flip it and turn themselves into some angel, because they want to give the great impression. Because people don't want to wear that shame and name and burden of going around being the righteous person. They want to, like, I know I'm the dog, but I want to flip the script and be the righteous. I want to appear righteous when I'm talking to this other person. You see what I'm saying? And I think that's how the way how people are today. You know, but that wasn't the only thing that I wanted to talk about. It was something else that I wanted to talk about. It was evolving around truth. It evolves around what was that? The devil being under the ground, and how we was taught that he take a pitchfork and he down up under the ground juking and stabbing people, and they burning them forever, and the devil's in charge of hell, and heaven is up there in the sky and all that kind of stuff. Heaven is a condition, but we was trained and taught that that heaven was what was literal. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. But I want to take time sometime today. I don't know if I want to do it right now, because I don't have my stuff with me right now, is to actually bring it out. But I want to sit down when I'm in a comfortable seat and like go over it and show y'all. You know, I want to talk about the eagle, the American symbol. Y'all know that the American symbol is the eagle, right? Y'all know that. Y'all know that they wanted to set their nest amongst the stars and all that, right? Y'all know this, right? Now I'm gonna show you all this. It's prophesied in the book of Obadiah. Obadiah saw that vision, that eagle would land, and that eagle, he broke it down, and he went on and explained and told us what that nation was. The eagle that exalted itself amongst the stars was the Edomites. The Edomites. The Edomites is the American people, the so-called Caucasian people. If you go right there and you look in Obadiah, Obadiah will break that down. But what you got to do is when you read one thing, you can't stop there. You got to read other context to that. Even if you have to go and do a little research through history because when you do the research through history, it's going to pretty much give you a general idea of who it's talking about. You see what I'm saying? So I'm challenging people, don't just read one thing. Because guess what? You've been looking at the devil your whole life, your whole 50 to 60 years of your life. But you've been thinking, we've been taught that it was under the ground. We taught that the devil had a tail and he was looked at like this ugly monster with red eyes or whatever we want to say, and looking like an animal. That's what we was taught that the devil was. When I visualized the devil years ago, I visualized the devil with horns and a tail, and looked at like a beast with that looks like an animal with horns and tail. That's how I visualized. That's what I was thinking in my mind. That's the philosophy that I had in my mind. That how he looked it. But realizing that was a whole lie. The lie is that it was a nation of people on this earth that is the devil. It's a nation of people on this earth that is the devil, and they are from Mount Seir, according to Genesis 36, and they are called the Edomites. Their race goes all the way back to the progenitor of the Edomite. They came out the Caucasus Mountain. Y'all know who that race is. It's going to explain it all right there in Obadiah. But before you read Obadiah, I challenge you to read Genesis 25, and I challenge you to just go to Jeremiah and get some. Because Jeremiah it's going to help breaking you down. What you're doing, you're going to get puzzles, and you got to go into the New Testament. You got to go into the Old. You got to go here and young. You may have to go to Luke to get an understanding. Wherever you need to go, it's going to tell you how to get the precepts of what you're talking about. And you're going to have a general idea, and it's going to start to make sense. Once you read the context to different things, then it will start to make sense to you. If you don't get the context, then you're going to be you're going to stay confused. But I'm here to warn y'all, that concept about the devil having a pitchfork in his hand, stabbing people while he down there burning. I mean, he burning people in the fire and stabbing them with a pitchfork and all that. That came from pagan mythology, the Roman Catholicism. That's where it came from. All you have to do is look in pagan Roman, in the pagan Roman Catholicism. You will see everything in there. In the Roman Catholics, everything. That's where all that teachings come from. That's where all those concepts came from. They was made up by the so-called Europeans. All of that. Just like you got, that's where all that old pedophilia come from. They believe in like for call themselves circumcising kids and stuff. They be over there putting their mouth on their progenitors and stuff. They do that. They do that, signifying that they are baptized in Christ, and that's not even of the Most High. That concept came from the Roman Catholic Church. That's why you got a bunch of pedophiles in the Roman Catholic Church, white pedophiles. That's where they come from, and all of that stuff. Yeah. So all this stuff about the devil under the ground, and he's poking people with a pitchfork, and all that kind of stuff, and the enemy gonna be charged in there. The Most High said in Revelation, he said the devil that deceived them was cast into a lake of fire. So if he gonna be cast in there, how in the world is he going to be in charge if he gonna be cast in there with you? Cast in there. So we knew that we've been believing a whole life. But I'm gonna take time and I'm gonna pull up the precepts and all that, and I'm gonna show y'all. Right now, I guess I'm kind of, my mind is need to get some things done or whatever. But like I said, read Obadiah, read Zephaniah, and read Malachi, and all of those. Read Malachi, and you got to put this stuff together. You see what I'm saying? And you go to Acts 2 and 22. You go to Acts chapter 7 and verses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. It's going to talk about the hard bondage that the Israelites was in. And yeah, so it's basically just going to give you, open your eyes up and give you a general idea, mainly who the nations is. You go to Isaiah chapter 14 and verses 12, where it says he will exalt himself, set himself in the side of the north. He will set himself amongst the stars of heaven. Then you can go to Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verses 49, where it says that the Lord will bring a nation against thee far as swift as the eagle flies. That eagle stands for America, the American symbol. I keep bringing y'all back to that. And you read Obadiah, and Obadiah gonna break it down. And you go to Zechariah. You might have to go into Zechariah. Then you go into the book of Amos, chapter 3, and you read the book of Amos, chapter 3, and it's going to break all this stuff down. And then not only that, but you can Google this stuff up. Some of you believe in going to the library. You can get you some books from the library, and you can look this stuff up too as well. Look into the history book. So my aim is this here, is to let my people know and to instruct you all and encourage you all, is to take y'all's children and tell them, teach them these things. You know what I mean? And show them these things from history. You know, I'm not telling you nothing that I'm not doing. So my job is to wake up and come on here and try to wake my people up, is to do their research, to come back to who they are, come back to their nationality, come back to who they belongs to. That's all I'm trying to do. I may not be the smartest man in the world, but I am every day, single day, I strive to try to get understanding to the best of my ability. You know, that's why the Most High said in Proverbs, he said, in all thy getting, get understanding. And everything that you read, everything that you study, because it's one thing to read, but it's another thing to actually understand what you're reading. You see what I'm saying? So that was my job. I felt it laid up on my heart just to come and tell y'all this morning. You know what I mean? Like if you go on a walk, if you're going out on a stroll, you know, I'm talking about the black families. You know what I mean? Make sure when you're in your house or whatever it is that you're doing, you know, make sure you know, just grab a book or something. And it's important to tell your children about a lot of this stuff. It's important. It's really important. Don't think it's not important, because it's very important to tell your family, your children this, and tell as many of your neighbors as possible, because our job is to let people know who they are. I understand this here. Another thing I want to say. The Bible is not a religious book. It's a book of laws. It's a history book. It's our history is in that book. All the prophets in the Bible were Negro prophets. Job, the book of, y'all familiar with Job? Job is a black man in the Bible. He's a black man. Yeah. Job chapter 30 and 30. Read that. Read the book of Song of Solomon, chapter 1 and verses 5 and 6. Solomon was a black man. He said, look not thou upon me, because I am black. Guess who else are black? Jeremiah. Look at Jeremiah chapter 14, verses 1. The Jews are black, because he said the Jews are in mourning. He says they are black unto the ground. That's what he said. All the prophets in the Bible, and the minor prophets, all those people are black. I'm telling y'all the real deal. So I'm putting this video out is to let y'all know, I'm just trying to give you as much information as possible. You see what I'm saying? It's not like I'm just sitting here just talking at the top of my head, and I'm just sitting here. I'm telling you things that I have looked up. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not just sitting. I ain't gonna sit here and just tell you something and not tell you where I got it from. You see what I'm saying? They got scripts, and even in Galatians, it tells that, and Paul said, am I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth? That's in Galatians. I forgot exactly what chapter it's in, but I know it's in Galatians. I think it's Galatians. What? I don't know. I forgot, but it's in Galatians. I'm gonna look it up and I'm gonna show it to you. But let's see. I'm trying to think of as much information as possible is to put out here before, you know what I mean? Let's see here. I'm trying to think of something else before I close it out. Yeah, just study the things upon the slave trade, people. Do your research and study those things that's dealing with the slave trade. Just look up the slave trade. Look off into that. I remember in the past that I had trouble trying to break down and pronunciation of words. You see what I'm saying? But I didn't use that as no excuse, because back in the day when I was younger, they didn't have no computers, wasn't out in our access. They didn't have none of this here. So what I done, I had family members is to help me out with certain vocabularies and reading of words and stuff, because I couldn't do, I didn't know how to do it. It was like I had a poor education when I was going to school. You know, I had a poor education when I was going to school and stuff of that nature. But what I did, I didn't use that as no excuse. I had family members around. You see what I'm saying? I had my family, I had my brothers, sisters, my nephews, and I had my nieces and things around like that. To I asked them when I needed help, when I didn't know what a word was, because I was poor in reading. When I didn't know what a word was, I would ask my family members what it was. You see what I'm saying? And I would sit down and I would do it. It's like I had to go to school in my own house. You see what I'm saying? I had to go to school in my own house. So I'm doing a lot better now, but I feel like I'm doing as I'm learning how to process and understand words and stuff. I'm gradually getting better at it. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm doing. I'm gradually getting better because, you know, during slavery, during the time of slavery, this is part of our history now. Our ancestors couldn't read. They wouldn't even allow to even have the Bible. They took all that away. All our ancestors was doing was building the big pyramids in Egypt. They was building. That's all they did. That's why we're so good at everything we've done, because we spent so much time in slavery doing all these things. It's right there in Exodus chapter 4 too. Exodus 4, Exodus 3, 4, and 5, where it talks about the Israelites they served with rigor. I'm gonna have to look that word up, rigor, and find out what that word rigor means. I looked it up before and I knew what it was, but I think I got to re-look it up to see what it meant, rigor. And they served the Egyptians. The Egyptian had them in hard bondage. That's what the Bible said. They was in hard bondage. That means times was hard up in Egypt. And it did all of these things. That's why I say this is a history. And this is the reason why I put so many videos out about it, because I am not only on YouTube telling you all these things, but I am somewhere. When I'm off this camera, I try to do as much more research as I possibly can, and I still got a long ways to go. You see what I'm saying? I'm not on this planet just to be, you know, because it said in the book of Job, I think it's Job 32, it says, multitude of days should teach wisdom, and the multitude of years supposed to teach wisdom. You see what I'm saying? So that's what we supposed to do. But the Israelite, like I said, they served in hard bondage. The Egyptians, you know who the Egyptians were, right? The Egyptians were the African people. It's just another name for the African people. They call them African, but you don't see the word African in the Bible, because they traded names and stuff like that. All these names like Black, African American, and all that, those are fake identity theft that so-called white man committed. They call it identity theft. We have our names was changed when we came into Egypt, and our ancestors, their names were changed, just like our names were changed. You see what I'm saying? Just like you have Gentiles in the Bible. The people, we thinking that the Gentiles are somebody different, other non-Jews. No, we took on Gentile names because we inherited slavery. We inherited the slavery. And so when they put us in slavery and put our ancestors in slavery, they gave us different names to signify our loyalty to these masters. And so that's why when you read the Bible and you read in the New Testament, it tells you, it talks about that until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in, we thinking that the Most High wants to save the Gentile. It's not talking about the word Gentile simply means a non-Israelite. That's what it means. But he's talking about the Israelites that are of the flesh. And I know this is a mystery right now, this part with what I'm saying, but I'm gonna take time and I'm gonna break all this stuff down and I'm gonna show y'all what I'm talking about. The reason why I keep on talking now is because I'm trying to put as much information into this camera as possible to encourage you all is to go and look these things up for yourself. You see what I'm saying? So it ain't like I'm just quoting things and just making things up. Everything that I basically said in here, you can actually go to the history book and you can look these things up. And that history book is the Bible. The Bible is not a religious book. It's your history in that book. Black man and black woman, so-called black man and black woman. I say so-called because black is just the color. You can't trace black back nowhere. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna end it on that note, and we'll come back and we'll chop it up some more. And my job is that as I'm giving myself information, I'm gonna do everything in my power is to give you all as much information as I'm trying to give myself, because as I'm trying to give to myself, it's because we all have been deceived at some point, but somebody got to wake up and tell somebody the truth. You know what I mean? So if it's me, if it starts with me, then it starts with me. So I'm out on that note. Peace and love to my people of color, and I'll see y'all in the next live. Peace.